The Russian war crime in Sumy is the topic of the day, of course. In the Blades talk with my dear colleague Dmytro Onopchenko, a Ukrainian correspondent in Washington, we talk about Put Up or Shut Up by Donald Trump and American perspective in general, of Ukrainian reality in particular. Good afternoon, my name is Enrique and we are UATV English-speaking Ukrainian state media, in constant persuasion, believe it or not, to deliver hard truth in easy terms for you, for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. Yesterday, Russia targeted the Ukrainian city of Sumy with 2 ballistic missiles, 34 killed, including 2 children, at least 117 injured. Consider this a sort of an open letter, a message from Ukraine to the rest of the world that considers itself at least somewhat civilized. For those of you religious believers, here is a live recording from a morning mass in church in Sumy, so as to maybe make you understand things a little bit better. Mind the first words of the priest, please.
Давайте разом відкриємо перше послання.
Давайте молиться.
The first message is, says the priest, and the first Russian missile hits the town. Then one more. Here it is, all live with no comments at all.
Да. Я же вам сказал, заехать.
Do you know how Associated Press or Reuters and all other these big monsters of information, how do they title these videos, file that just you saw? They call it crisis. Crisis in Ukraine, not war, the crisis. A politically correct term that just rounds off the reality, a bit so to make it more comfortable for you to consume and adjust to. So please don't. It's not a crisis. It's a war. And it is not a war in Ukraine. It is a global Russian war against all basic human values, like the right to live and a right to live free. This is nothing short but a crusade of Russian barbarity against Western civilization. Like it or not, that's a bare fact. So Ukraine is asking you to call your local authorities, call your mayors, your senators, your houses of parliament, your royal palaces, go there on foot, find your representative, remind them you are a voter, and take a step forward to become the voter. Don't ask them, demand they listen. Ignore their excuses, remind them that they are your servants, not the other way around. Remind them that you are the power here. Remind them that since nobody could do it for you for 3 years in a row, it is your time now, you're in charge. Tell them that you are acting on behalf of Ukraine, of all 40 million Ukrainian nation, and you have decided, enough. No Russia in Ukraine. Enough of trying to find a justification to describe the genocide of the Ukrainian people. More than 20,000 of our children have been abducted by Russia. The rest are being killed on the streets of Ukrainian cities every single day.
Yes.
Do you have a reaction to Russia's Palm Sunday attack on Ukraine?
I think it was terrible, and I was told they made a mistake, but I think it's a horrible thing. I think the whole war is a horrible thing. I think the war is, for that war to have started, is an abuse of power. This country would have never allowed that war to have started if I were president. That war is a shame. Millions of people are dead that should be alive. Cities are being destroyed all over Ukraine. The whole culture is gone. Or certainly very severely hurt. You know, the chapels, the churches, the spirals, all of the things that they had in Ukraine were among the most beautiful anywhere in the world. Most of them been knocked down and blown up into a million pieces. But most importantly, you have millions of people dead that shouldn't be dead.
Enough of these mistakes. Enough of killing our children under the pretext of peace negotiations with a murderer. Enough of helping Russia to stall any peace effort. Enough of bargaining with Russia at Ukraine's blood expense. Enough of the current administration in America negotiating with Putin on what is the exact number of killed Ukrainian children that can be considered acceptable to both. President Trump, Putin plays you and you look weak. They mock you openly in their propaganda media in Russia. Ask your people to look into it. Sumy is another bloody spit in your face. Enough of that. Show power. Do not just end the war, but end the war just, President Trump. No Russia in Ukraine. Stop allowing Russia to kill our children for whatever the reason is, as there is no reason. There couldn't be one. There shouldn't be. And if someone finds a reason for that, then their children will be next. Because this is exactly how evil always spreads around, through the inaction of good people. Enough of that. No Russia in Ukraine. On behalf of Ukrainian people, please like and share this very video, as we have created a technological paradise wherein hell is being unleashed. Our electronic platforms decide for us what and how we will see in reality. They amended and augmented, and so we cannot show you the corpses of our children killed by the Russians. Would that mean that they do not exist? 11 of them. In the last 2 weeks only. And it has been 3 years of this war, so do the math. Enough of that. No Russia in Ukraine. Act, please, as inaction is a criminal cult. Your inaction is what Putin pays for gladly. He's ready to buy it at any time and price, invests billions in Russian propaganda and lobbying, and is happy to pay Western money for Western inaction. While Ukrainian people die in the streets on Palm Sunday. Enough of that. No Russia in Ukraine. Dmytro Anopchenko is with us from Washington, D.C., live right from the Congress Hall. Is that right, Dmytro? Hello.
Yeah, hello. Nice to join and thank you for having me.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. First thing first, Trump did not actually reinforce Biden's sanctions, but kept them in a place for next year. Is that right? What is, in general, the attitude to that within the administration itself and on the streets, if you happen to know, by the American people out there? Does the nation think it is enough or not enough, or maybe more should be done or less should be done? What's going on with these sanctions anyway?
I'm not sure I can speak on behalf of the nation, but let me explain my understanding. So the President Trump isn't keeping the sanctions to punish Russia. He's keeping them to trade. His team sees them as a leverage, plain and simple. And yes, they have already started discussing sanctions relief behind the closed doors. That's the strategy, keep the pressure, then offer a deal. Now, why this gets complicated? I recently spoke with a former US sanctions coordinator, and he reminded me those sanctions came in 3 waves: first Crimea, then Donbass, and finally the full package after 2022. The rule was no relief unless the reason is gone. So using sanctions for the negotiations, that's not just a politics, it's a legal and policy shift. And here is what I'm hearing from sources here in DC. Those talks about lifting some oil-related sanctions, even upfront, is a goodwill, and but it relays. It depends on Moscow, and from Moscow there is no real signal yet, no real signal that they're ready to make a peace deal. So everything depends on what's going on here in Riyadh, in Istanbul, and possibly in Moscow.
Yeah, I believe.
Returning to you.
Right, thank you so very much for your detailed answer, and I believe you're absolutely right, and I'm afraid you're right, that there is no signal that Russia wants the ending of this terrible war whatsoever, and the people in Sumy, I believe, can absolutely confirm that now. But I'm not expecting... Unfortunately, exactly. And I'm not expecting any repercussions to arrive to United States at the moment. But let's talk about the thing. Like, Trump said it recently. Time to put up or shut up, says Trump aboard Air Force One. I mean, many in Ukraine still, including me myself, struggle to understand what could that even mean. So we are looking for some insights from Washington, D.C. as you're way closer to the source. So can you please educate us, talk us through the whole thing? What's going on with this?
Absolutely. Being here in Washington, D.C. as a White House correspondent is not just a privilege, it's my duty to double-check the information. So what I found for you. What we heard that line. Time to put up or shut up from President Trump aboard Air Force One. And I spoke directly with the pool reporter who was on that flight, wheels up from Palm Beach and wheels down in Miami. And here is the full quote he reported and provided to me. Trump said, I think Ukraine-Russia might be going okay, and you are going to be finding out pretty soon. There is a point at which you have to either put up or shut up. Or we'll see what happens, but I think it's going fine. Now, many took that as a warning to Kyiv, but let's be very honest, who says it was about Ukraine at all? This could just as easily be a message to Moscow. Maybe Trump is saying, enough games, show your series. In fact, some people in DC telling about shifting tones and showing the stick, not the carrot. And it's the classic Trump pressure before the negotiations. It's not random, it's a tactic. He wrote about himself in the Art of the Deal book. Rule number one, before the big negotiations, to create the uncertainty, and it's exactly what we're seeing now.
All right, well, if this is a message to Moscow, then I believe that this is a background for cautious optimism, but let's not exercise even that. Let's see and wait what is going on. Another question. Recent Russian, I don't know how to put it even, Dmitry. I said, let's put it nuclear blackmail for what it is. Bombing Chernobyl, a nuclear power plant, and damaging the arch, the safety infrastructure. I mean, this is beyond evil. And any repercussions on that in the United States yet?
Well, I'll double-check for you. As of now, there is no any comments or there's no any official reaction. And let me explain what is happening from inside. Honestly, it's not surprising. Because the Trump administration has also chosen to keep the tone low, carefully avoiding strong public statements. Why? Because there is a quite understanding, don't say anything that could get at the way of the future talks. But let me tell you something which was told to me off camera by the former US ambassador to Ukraine. He told me that it was a very clear message sent behind closed doors during Biden's first term. Remember that all that nuclear talks from Putin, threats to use tactical nukes to hit the Black Sea or the Snake Island, and suddenly that stopped. So, according to the diplomat I spoke with, Washington sent a private warning. If Russia uses nuclear weapons against Ukraine, the US will respond militarily by hitting Russian forces and assets inside Ukraine. And that wouldn't be a war, but it would be a message. Guess what? The nuclear talks punished momentarily. Now, will the Trump administration stick to that line? Probably not, but it shows one thing very clearly. For the US and for the allies and even for Russia, so-called friends, the nuclear incidents are a red line.
Right. Well, I mean, exactly. I've been recently talking to American author and professor in mental health, Dr. Stephen Hassan. And I've asked him about many things, but he also told me about the thing that he wrote the book, Cult of Trump and everything. He was also a right-wing fascist when he was 19. And now he sees the same, he broke free, of course, as he's now a professor in America. But we see the same thing in Russia right at the moment, because Putin is more like saint, and they're not going to stop. And I believe, when I've been talking, and I've been looking at Russian propaganda, that people are proud about what is going on. I mean,
if I may, what I heard from the sources, what I heard from the former US officials, that they believe it's just the propaganda, but it's the red line Putin will not cross. I heard it even from intelligence sources.
Great. I mean, amen to that. And I don't believe that Putin will do that just as well. But Iran and United States indirect talks, whatever that means. What's known so far? Could you please talk us through a little bit more from your Washington perspective, please?
Well, let me be very honest. Iran isn't my main focus. I'm mainly covering Ukraine, but I can share what I'm hearing here in Washington. There is a growing pressure that Trump administration wants to deliver some results for the day 100 that's coming in May. According to high-level sources, there was an early goal to show at least 10 achievements. And the ceasefire in Ukraine was very high in that list. But since that hasn't happened, they're looking now elsewhere. Well, when Iran comes up, they need something big, they need it fast, and if Ukraine talks stall, then some kind of talks or negotiations, whatever, with Iran could help to fill that gap. Talks in direct channels, gestures, all of them is being explored. So this is less about policy and more about momentum and headlines. The White House wants to show leadership, and the day 100 is the deadline.
Well, thank you so very much for your expertise and for your connection
with us.
Thank
you for having me.
The only thing is that the next time we will try to talk, we will definitely, the first question will be if there are any repercussions on a tragedy and catastrophe in Sumy. Probably there will. Maybe something will change in the modern American administration towards Ukraine, some positions, maybe. But
let me tell you, right now we got Special Representative General Kellogg telling about that. And why it's Kellogg, why it's not Rubio, why it's not Witkoff. The same situation. They don't want to ruin the future negotiations. They don't want to ruin the future possible meeting between Trump and Putin in Riyadh. Right. But at the same time, we got a very strong position and we got the very strong messages from the US. But it's the messages told and published by the General Kellogg.
Again, Dmitro, thank you so very much and hope to talk to you soon. A great job done. Thank you. Well, that's it for tonight. My name is Henry Keane and we are UATV English, an English-speaking Ukrainian state media in constant persuasion to deliver hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. In return, we ask, like, share and comment. Your voice matters as it in turn helps Ukrainian voice to be heard globally. So please stay safe and hope to see you very soon. Goodbye.